you doing this evening? Hello, YouTube. I'm glad to be here with you for another episode of The Office. Whew, it's been a journey today. It's been a journey today. Okay, when I say a journey, but I'm gonna, make sure I'm here for y'all. Make sure that this show is done for you guys. And I'm so excited. Thank you, Eastside Sunny, for joining, and Soulfully Divine Creation. So, guys, at the beginning of this show, at every show, we do a small business and an underground artist. So, I'm going to go ahead and get on into it because I've had my guests waiting this evening. I'm so glad that you guys were so patient. And we're going to bring on Miss Soulfully Divine Creations, and we're going to speak to her. And I'm so happy. So if you could send me a request, Miss Divine, hold on just a moment. If you could send me a request, Miss Soulfully Divine, so that I can bring you on the live. I'm excited to have you because of so many reasons, but I want to make sure that technically that we can be good. So if you can find a way. All right, just a moment. It works out. Tonight has been a technical night, y'all. Technical night. Hello, how you doing?
There I am. Hey, how you doing? What's going on, cuz?
Yes, I'm so glad that you were able to make it tonight. I'm so glad that you were able to make it. And I want to give a bit of exposure to your business because what you do, I love. Now, the reason that I love what you do so much, lately on the news and different media outlets, I've been hearing about products that have been for women, African American women especially the perms, our shampoos, our conditioners that are harmful to our scalp and to our body. The ingredients that they have in the products get into our hair follicles, in our scalp, causes cancer, causes these things, and it blew my mind. It freaked me out. Okay, so I know. Yes, ma'am. I looked at your business and I said, what she is doing is amazing. Amazing. And I wanted to bring you on to introduce you to all my followers. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm gonna let you take the floor.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah. Look, that's one of the things about being a business owner. When you have things that you need to do like this, you can take the time and take as much time as you need to get those things done. So yeah, you already know. I'm running 3 businesses at once. Hey, when I need to make time to get something done, I make time to get it done. So,
yes,
but everything you're saying is absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. And that is why I started looking into doing my own products. Of course, it was at first for myself and, the people closest to me. And it started with my hair. One thing about it, I take responsibility for this. I literally was killing my hair. Why? Because I was relaxing. I was dying. I was over processing the living, excuse my French, hell out of my hair. Yeah. My hair was falling out of my head and it was my fault. So by the time I decided I needed to do something different or find a different way to take care of my hair was so damaged. It was so brittle. It was breaking off. I had no edges. The middle of my hair was breaking off. My neckline was gone. And I was waking up in the morning and my pillow is covered in my hair. It's falling out of my head in my sleep. So I came to the conclusion that I had one of 2 options. I could either attempt to go natural, which meant cut out everything that I had been using, all of the heavy chemicals, all of the store-bought products, and see if my hair recovered, or I was going to have to chop it all up. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but I got a big head. Well, you've seen me in person. I got a big head. Everybody can't pull short hair. I can't pull short hair. I got too much head to have no hair. Okay, but
head, so I definitely don't want to pull off short hair too tough.
I was and so those, but it got to the point where those were my only 2 options. So I decided to go natural. And I literally waited a period of like 19 months of literally just washing my hair, keeping it conditioned, braiding it, doing my own sew-in weaves, and just letting my hair start trying to grow out on its own. Just, just left it alone and see, what I was able to do. And so after 19 months, I put 2-strand twists in. And I started off my lock journey, my hair journey, like most people. You go to a shop, they retwist. But even in this process, this was the first time I discovered something that I did not like. Number one, your hair is just like your skin. If you want it to grow and stay healthy, you're constantly shedding cells, dead cells. You want it to stay healthy. You want it to grow. You want it to replenish. You have to clean it. I mean, even though I already washed my hair, I go into this African braiding shop and I'm watching them bring people in, put them in the chair, putting all kinds of mess in their hair. I haven't seen not nobody go to a shampoo bowl nowhere. You don't know when the last time you're supposed to wash their hair. Even with my clients, I always ask my clients, look, if I'm coming on Saturday, wash your hair on Friday. If you want to get up early and wash your hair Saturday morning, I'll be there by Saturday afternoon, do it. I want your hair to be clean when I work with it. Even though the products that I use, which are the products that I make, it's not going to leave build up. It's not going to have your hair feeling heavy, feeling dirty or none of that like that. I still want your hair to be clean. Why? Because just like your skin, you want to take care of it. You want to keep it healthy. It needs to be clean. People running around here with their hair, they get locks, and, you have these goofy people telling these poor folks who don't know any better, you can't wash your hair for 3 months. You can't wash your hair for 6 months. Excuse me, would you not wash your behind for 3 or 6 months? No. So why are you doing this to your hair? So my first experience with a loctician, and you see that heavy side eye loctician. This woman put a half a tub of that dark brown Eco Styler gel in my hair, baked me under a dryer for 1 hour and 10 minutes like I was a damn Christmas goose. And when she got done with me, she took my $50 and she sent me on my way. And the middle of my head was still wet. I was disgusted. I couldn't get back to my house fast enough. I went home. I washed it out, washed all of it out. I caught some of the water in a jar and I went back to the shop and I told her, I said, listen, I need my money back. Because even though I am new to this process myself, I already see you don't know what you're doing. You are going to have me walking around here in 6 months looking like a bald head skis monkey. And I'm not about to pay you to do that to me. So I'm going to need my money back and you will never see me again. Yeah. And once she realized I was serious, she did it. But it was at that point where I decided, okay, you know what? If I'm going to do this with my hair, I need to learn how to do it myself. I need to learn how to do it in a way where my hair is actually going to be healthy, is going to continue to grow, and going to continue to recover. That's what got me started making my own products. It started off with the hair oil. And I see my sister, my little sister down here, Dipped in Tats. That's one of the first things she mentioned because she even uses it for me. And it's herbal. I literally make it from scratch. I make this. It's and the herbs are, I
wanted to kind of introduce you as, and I don't mean to cut you short, but I want people to kind of just know your product. You make your hair oils and your soaps naturally from scratch from things that are from the earth, and that is what makes your you make you so unique and make your business so unique. So can you tell us a little bit about the products that you sell?
I sure can. One of them I already mentioned, which is the Herbal Hair Oil. And literally, I mean, you don't have to put it on your hair. It's literally for your scalp. But basically what this oil is, it's an infusion of a combination of different herbs, which organic herbs I use, of course, because I don't want to be putting pesticides in my hair. I don't want nobody else putting pesticides in their hair. But you have a combination of oils and herbs that are in this that are good for moisturizing the scalp and also helping stimulate your hair, stimulating, your hair to grow. But of course, it's not just the oil. You have to take care of your hair. You have to wash your hair regularly, keep it clean, whatever maintenance routine you use, stay on top of it. But this definitely is a big help. And I use it when I retighten this mess here. I don't know if you can see all of it. I'm sitting on it now. I'm 10 years in and I'm sitting on it now. But I worked on this formula for 6 years before I got it just right the way I wanted it. And then when I started taking hair clients, I started using it with them also. So this
So what
one is one of my more popular ones.
can you tell us some of the products that you use in your oils or your soaps? And I don't mean to, because you know what? Tonight I had technical issues with the show, and I have a few other guests, and so I can't go in as long as I thought I could. But what I want to do is get you exposed because you're amazing, and I want you to just
Thank you.
people can go follow you and hit you up for whatever products they may need or want. So can you tell us some of the products that you need, that you use?
Okay, so my hair oil, of course. This one is another favorite of mine. Like I said, I don't do store-bought in my hair at all. This is a rose water and aloe herbal spray, conditioning spray, which is safe for daily use. You can use it after you wash, whenever you feel like your hair needs to be moisturized. I make this as well. Rose water and aloe. Yes. Make it from scratch, just like the oil. Now, I don't know if you have been told yet, but the latest thing that I've been doing, which is also hair related, like I said, because I know you want to keep it moving. You see this here?
Yes, that is what I love. That soap, girl. Yes.
No. Whoa, no, cuz. This is not soap. This is shampoo, boo-boo. This is a shampoo bar. Yes, ma'am. This is shampoo. Herbal shampoo. It is made on the same basis that my soap is made, but this is for your hair. So the base of it is different and the ingredients are different. But this is a shampoo bar. Also used here on this.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, exactly. That's why I chose that design. Now, of course, you've already sampled some of my soaps. This is another one. This one is the thank you. This one is the oatmeal and raw honey, ghost milk base, coconut oil, shea butter. Girl, it's great on your skin. It's great on your skin.
Shea butter. I love shea butter.
Okay. I know. Now this one, you know what? I have something else that I need to send you. This is also for your skin. This is my herbal skin cream. Now this has a combination of coconut oil, shea butter, mango butter, olive oil, and grapeseed oil. And this is also infused with herbs. You can see some of what was left floating in the bottom there, but also infused.
Over that thing there. Oh my goodness.
And so, and there it is. There it is in the jar. This is another one. I also use this daily, and I actually have a couple of customers that have like eczema and psoriasis that love this because there are no chemicals in it. Everything that's in everything I've shown you, you can get at a grocery store.
Natural.
Farmer's market. Anywhere. Yes. Right. My next one is, this one is my facial cleanser. Now, this one is just coming out of testing, but I'm using it on my own face because I'm one of those people that's just going to have acne till I die. So I got to figure something out because, the heavy chemical cleansers, they dry your skin out. They irritate your skin. They contain alcohol and other harsh agents that are supposed to clean your skin, but it's actually killing your skin because it's drying you out. Okay, this one, I'm sorry, this one's a little ignorant. She don't got a label on her yet. I'm waiting on those to come in, but this is actually lip balm.
Okay, I saw that on your website.
This is the lip balm. This is the new one. Mango butter, shea butter, grapeseed oil, and essential oil. That's all that's in here. 4 ingredients. That is it.
Yes.
4 ingredients in this. That is it. And my last one is the Calendula facial cream, which goes with the facial cleanser. Now, this is a really great moisturizer. One reason, it's not oily. It's literally a cream. It's not oily at all. Again, it's all herbal. You can see on my finger there, it rubs right in. Not oily, not shiny, not greasy. This is not oil of Olay. You're not going to go to bed at night looking like a piece of church's chicken. Your skin going to soak this up and be just as soft and happy in the morning when you wake up. Okay? Like your skin's supposed to be. Okay?
Yes. It's like a skin party over there you got, girl. It's like a skin party. So can you tell us,
I'm working on it.
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell us, Miss Soulfully Divine Creations, where people can go follow you and go hit you up for their personal skincare and hair care?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I am on Facebook at Soulfully Divine Creations. Also, pretty much the same address here on Instagram, soulfully_divine_creations. And for placing orders or just getting more details about my products, go to my website, www.soulfullydivinecreations.com. My site is up 24 hours a day. I process orders every day. I ship 6 days a week nationwide and to all U.S. territories. So, definitely go take a look. And it's not just skincare. I mean, I know my time is kind of short because you have other people behind me, but I had jewelry set up. I had other stuff set up. It's some of everything. And I've got some new stuff coming. I'm not going to say nothing about that, though. I'm going to just wait and let you see it.
It's soulfully divine, girl. All your creations, honey. I'm so glad that you took the time out to come this evening, Miss Jen. Thank you so much. And I will put all
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I'll put all your information in the description box when this show is wrapped up. Thank you so much for coming out. And you have a great night.
I appreciate it. You too.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Yes. So, guys, please go follow Miss Soulfully Divine Creations. She's in the link. Well, I'll put all her information in the link below tonight when the show is wrapped up. I got some good stuff to talk about tonight, guys. And I have a friend, and he is from my hometown. And unfortunately, we couldn't get the sound right tonight on his end with the his interview. But I'm going to bring him back, guys, and he is going to be able to sit down and talk with us, and I'm going to be so excited. But I want to let you guys hear, because I do want underground artists also. And I want to let you guys hear a song that he has. Mr. Eastside Sunny, are you here with us tonight? Let me know if you're here, Mr. Eastside Sunny. And if you are, send me a request. Let's see if he's in the building. Yes. All right. Yeah, so if you can send me a request, Mr. Sunny, and then I can go ahead and let the people see you while we play this beautiful song that you have this evening. Thank you for coming on, Bishop Blunt. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining this evening. All right, Mr. Eastside Sunny, go ahead and send me a request so we can show your face at least while your song is playing. Everybody, please go follow him. That's Eastside Sunny. I'll put his information in the description below. He's from my hometown, north of VA. He is an awesome artist, rapper, and I'm just so delighted that he is, here to be able to show his face. But we're going to get him back on the line for an interview here in the near future. Sorry that you guys can't hear him. But we're going to play your song. Hey, Mr. Eastside Buddy, how you doing? But we're going to play your song, Process, tonight so people can go. That's streaming on platforms. And we'll put all that information in the box below tonight after the show is wrapped up. And we're going to play tonight the song that I love called Process, because I'm telling you now, we all go through the process, okay? And this song just reminds me of home. It reminds me of Norfolk. It just brings back so many memories. So here we go, y'all. Yes! Norfolk! Where you at? You from Norfolk? Then you know what's up.
Lafayette Boulevard, Park Place, all that shit, whole uptown. Norfolk team, Norfolk, we in the building, paint gang, let's go.
Yes!
Yeah. I ain't gonna want you in the process. Go get the 50 cent prison in the process. Everybody got a pilot in the process. I'm surprised I'm still alive, ain't died yet. I swear to God, I beat the odds of the process. Yeah, I'm on the natural high, you cannot stop it. Only way to match my fly, still in the cockpit. With the little shorty hold me the process. Shout out to my niggas that still live in the project. We on top, they robbery still in progress. I'm surprised, thank God, I ain't died yet. I caught a body, got a solid in the process. Celebrating the victory, just the process. I'm surprised, thank God, I ain't died yet. Shout out to my niggas that still live in the project. We on top, they robbery still in progress. I ain't never wanna hurt you in the process. Don't get convicted in the prison in the process. Call the body, got a family in the process. I'm surprised I'm alive, thank God, yeah. We on top, this robbery still in progress. Shout out my niggas still in the project. Nigga, let shorty hold me the process. I'm surprised, thank God, I ain't dodging. Lafayette Boulevard, I sold that rocket. They got set it off on his block, he on his spot back. Ain't no question of Sonny towing that object. The custodian nigga, I keep the mop wet. Mac 90 excited me, soon as it cop back. I can start a riot, I'm quieter than a bobcat. Big machinery, nigga, you know the bobcat. You gon' be remembered for living up there with God at. Reminisce on my mommy telling me not yet. But look at me now, the process in progress. I'm surprised, thank God they ain't died yet. Hopping out of car, started firing, they shot back. Fresh home, they felling out, ain't no belling out. Snap niggas, stab niggas, kicked every selling out. I'm connecting the dots now to spell it out. You lit out to my Cali, now to melt it out. Where my niggas who love still in the cars at? Ski mask, black gloves laid on the armrest. Where my niggas who stay facing them odds at? Throwing up they blocks out watts in the project. Niggas on their hand out shit soon as they arm stretch. Old niggas in competition just like a contest. Every nigga you see me with is an animal. If we greedy, we eat a nigga like cannibal.
Hey! What you say, don't say it! Yeah!
And Mike D, plug me in. Hey, gang, team Norfolk.
Norfolk. That's the streets that taught me the game, baby.
I ain't never wanna hurt you in the process. Or get the niggas in the prison in the process. Call the body, got a father in the process. I'm surprised I'm still alive, ain't died yet. I swear to God, I beat the odds of the process. Guess I'm on the natural high, you cannot stop it. Only way to match my plastic in the cockpit. The little shorty hold me the prospect. Shout out to my niggas that still live in the project. We on top, they robbery still in progress. I'm surprised, thank God, they ain't dodging. I caught a body, got a powder in the process. Celebrating the victory, just the process. I'm surprised, thank God, they ain't dodging. Shout out to my niggas that still live in the project. We on top, they robbery still in progress. I ain't never wanna hurt you in the process. Or get convicted, send to prison in the process. Caught a body, got a powder in the process. I'm surprised I'm alive, thank God, yeah. We on top, this robbery still in progress. Shout out my niggas still in the project. Look at the shorty, hold me the prospect. I'm surprised, thank God, I ain't dodging.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's from back home. We need that motivation. But Mr. Sonny, I'm going to make sure I get you up here soon for that February show, sir. Yes. That's right. And go follow him, y'all. Go follow him, y'all. And we're going to talk to you soon, Mr. Stacks. I got you. Look, I talked to Doodle today, and he said, tell Stacks to say free Doodle for me on the show. And too bad we can't hear you. That's right. That's right. One of the realest to ever do it. All right, Mr. Eastside Sunny. I'm going to see you soon, sir. Good night to you. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Go ahead and exit out for me, Stacks, because I can't find a little X up here. All right. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I just had to get a piece of home in here. Just a piece of home in here. But next, guys, I'm so excited about my next guest as well. I'm so happy that he took the time to speak to me this evening. Bishop Blunt, are you available to come on? Can you send me a request, please? Bishop Blunt, if you're still here in the building. Just one moment, guys. Bishop Blunt, if you're still here, can you send me a request, please? And if you don't know how, then I definitely will send you one. Let me know in the comments. Hi, can you send me a request, Bishop Blunt, please? So that I can bring you on. I'm so happy that you're here this evening. If you need me to, I'll send you a request. All right, here we go. Hello, Bishop Blunt. How you doing this evening?
I'm well. Good evening to you. Thank you for the opportunity to share and be a part of this conversation with you on this Friday evening.
Thank you so much for coming on. You know, the reason I did this with you, and I'm so glad that God touched your heart to come on into these virtual ghetto streets to speak to the people this evening, is because I spoke to a lot of people throughout doing my little visual podcast here. And a lot of the Black people, the younger generation, they've had a different kind of view on when it comes to the Black church, and it blew me because, you know, I grew up with the big mama, with the grandma that told, you know, embedded Christianity into me and schooled me on God and Christ and how the church is important to your lifestyle and everything like that. And I wanted to bring someone in that is a leader in the Black church to kind of explain some things and make some things clear, because a lot of the people in our generation are looking at the Black church as not a help. You know, they become silent and closed when it comes to political things or things that affect the people when it comes to the government. And before we get into that, I just want to give you an opportunity to tell a little bit about yourself, you know, where you're from and where your church is, if you want to share that. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that, Bishop Blunt.
Well, good evening to you again. Thank you for the opportunity to share and be a part of your audience as well as a participant. I'm grateful for the persons or people that will be watching and sharing in this Instagram broadcast. I am the senior pastor of the New Mount Olivet Church in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. I have been in Portsmouth virtually all of my life. While I serve in Portsmouth as a leader, I reside in Virginia Beach, Virginia. But certainly have been preaching and pastoring now for the last 30 years at the New Mount Olivet Church in the city of Portsmouth, and have had an opportunity to touch countless of people, brothers and sisters throughout our community. So that makes me doubly excited about being able to share in this moment with you as we engage in conversation about the church and how people, the present generation, Xers, millennials, see the church in a different light. And perhaps with my limited ability and intellect, I can bring some insight to perhaps as to why the church is viewed in a different light and how impactful the church can be, even on the lives of those who see it in a not so pleasant light, if you will.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Well, I wanted to start off with this so that we can have a direction here. Let me see. And I think I was able to send you over this prior to us speaking. Let me just go here. Now, as you know, if you were aware, Bishop Desmond Tutu recently passed away. And he had a lot to say when it came to matters of the church and the dynamic of the white Christian the white Christian nationalism tearing America apart at the seams. And he had two interesting quotes that he made. He said, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. If an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse and you say that you are neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality. And that was from the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He goes down also to say, in a quote, to combat white Christian nationalism, it's necessary to build a multiracial moral movement that can speak directly to the needs and aspirations of poor and dispossessed, I want to get this right, dispossessed Americans, and fuse their many struggles into one. So, it's saying basically that the Christianity has been whitewashed. That's what I'm taking from what he's saying. And this last quote right here is when I think he kind of addresses the issue that I wanted to speak to you about tonight. He says, what has happened to us? It seems as if we have perverted our freedom, our rights into license, into being irresponsible. Perhaps we did not realize just how apartheid has damaged us, so that we seem to have lost our sense of right and wrong. What do you have to say, Bishop Blunt, about when it comes to the position of the Black church and the new wave of democracy and the way that the government is handling the Black people? What position are you guys supposed to play here?
Well, let me just say this. First of all, of course, Bishop Desmond Tutu was a hero for many of us as he dealt with apartheid in South Africa, and we saw him at the forefront of that movement along with Nelson Mandela. Of course, both men have deceased, and God rest their souls. And certainly Bishop Desmond Tutu was in position to make commentary concerning the movement as it relates to Black people in America, as well as it relates to the national or the white nationalists, if you will, in America. I think that what has happened is that we have been, as a people, and the church, of course, affected by what happens in the community. While we proclaim and declare that ultimately the church is to shape the community, really the community has a great effect upon the church. And I think we have become so comfortable and complacent to the point that we've allowed major gains that have taken place in this country as a result of what happened in the 60s and the 50s, early 70s, in terms of, voter right legislation being passed, Brown versus Board of Education, so many gains that have been made. After that, the preceding generations have become comfortable, complacent to the point that we begin to slip back into some places and some situations that we had been in before. In addition to that, and of course, there have been those who've kind of, said and, have had an opinion about the church. People have always had an opinion about the church, whether or not the church is silent, whether or not the church is activist, whether or not the church has been lulled asleep, whether or not the church has become as complacent as generations have become complacent, or the community has become complacent. I think that the church is and has always been an active force in the nation, in the community, and it's because it's easy to single out a few who are silent, but many of our churches are really active in the lives of people, in the streets of our community. And many of the activists, if you will, have come out of pews from churches that had pastors preside over them to serve, to lead, who have been very vocal concerning issues, concerning racism, concerning white nationalists, or concerning with oath keepers, or what have you. Even in terms of Black Lives Matter movement, when you look at the people who are involved, they've come out of churches where pastors have stood at the forefront, men and women, and have been very vocal about what's going on in our society. When you look at the first Black president of the United States, he came out of a church, out of an African-American church, Dr. Jeremiah Wright, who was a mentor for many of us, but very vocal concerning this nation, concerning white nationalism, concerning injustices, concerning racism. You go back into the 60s, look at Dr. King, who was a Baptist preacher. His daddy was a Baptist preacher, his grandfather a Baptist preacher. And so the church has been active and is yet active even now when I think about the Jamal Bryants and others that are Freddie Haynes, black pastors, leaders, Claudette Copeland, I believe her name is, but, people who have been very active in terms of being vocal concerning the issues of our society. What has to happen is we have to find a way of bridging this gap between millennials, Xers, the young generation, because now some of us are holding on to the church that used to be, and looking at our glory days. And then there are those who just don't want to get into the fray, who don't want to get into the fight. But there are those who are very, very active in terms of this movement, in terms of addressing issues, speaking truth to power in my city where I'm from, as well as countless of cities across the length and breadth of this country. And so I think it's just a matter of us bridging that gap, bringing those who perhaps who feel like the church has been lulled asleep around the table, engaging in conversation, partnering together, collaborating, and looking at what can we do to change this nation and to change our communities as Black people in this country.
Yes, sir. Do you think and do you feel that it is appropriate for the Black church to step up more and to come together in marches and not to say riots, but more like marches and what's the other word? I guess a march, a conglomerate, when we see communities, police kill Black men innocently in the communities. Do you think it's appropriate for the church to get involved in marching and confronting the police chief? Do you think it's appropriate for the church to take in Black men that were exonerated from prison, Black men and women that were exonerated from prison, and give them shelter and help finance them to get on their feet? Do you think that things like that would help bridge the gap to the new millennials, because they want to see more hands-on?
Well, because you got, there are 2 or 3 questions there. One is in terms of second chance, if you will, African American men and women being released from prison and having somewhere to go. And does the church play a role in receiving these persons, helping them to become reacclimated in terms of the society, getting their feet on the ground? And I think, one is the answer to that question is very much appropriate. But also let's not assume that the church, when I speak in terms of the church, I speak in terms of the national Black church as well as the global church. Let's not assume that the church has not been active in helping persons to become reacclimated, connected to society, young men, young women. Again, in my city and other cities, churches are very, very active in terms of trying to help persons who've been incarcerated, even in terms of being at the forefront of prison reform. Because 3 strikes you outlaw, 3 strikes you out kind of laws that have been passed, and therefore consequently many of our Black men, Hispanic men, Black women, Hispanic women have been incarcerated for, God knows, a tremendous amount of time for crimes that they have done versus the white community that committed, in terms of committing the same crime, didn't get as much time. And so the church has been at the forefront in terms of dealing with reform, in terms of dealing with, what we call second chance, in terms of, just being there for our people. And I think that when people are standing on the outside looking in, then they really don't know what's going on the inside. You can't discover what's going on the inside until you step inside. The other question that you raised concerning the church, being active and, feet on the ground, marches. I participated in marches, but I'm thinking about Dr. Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton, gets a lot of criticism but he shows up in places where other people are not willing or have not shown up in. You know, families call upon him to be a voice for them when there has been police brutality of fatalities as a result of a police shooting. And not just Dr. Al Sharpton with the National Network, but other entities, other groups in this country have been actively engaged and involved in terms of trying to address and deal with these issues that affect Black people in America. So you can't assume that the church is not active in these areas, okay? And people will assume that the church is not active when they are standing on the outside looking through the door or looking through the window. People have to come in to see what the church is doing. And I submit that the church is a very powerful presence in every community throughout this nation, engaging and trying to really bring healing into the lives of broken people and healing into our nation. And of course, our nation can't be what it's destined to be until it treats the poor, until it treats those persons who are hurting, treat people fairly, equally, and with justice. And of course, this weekend is, we're celebrating the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which is a great segue to this whole conversation that we're having, because he gave so much for the movement, and it was more than just a dream.
Yes.
A lot of emphasis on the "I have a dream," but he did a whole lot more than that. And of course, one of the things he said that when you stand up, a man can't ride your back. That a man can ride your back only when you're bent over.
Woo.
And so one of the things that we have to learn how to do as a people, as the church, and as a community, we've got to learn how to stand up.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now, you were saying that we got to figure out a way to bridge the gap between the new generation and what we currently have as the Black church. Now, from my readings, Bishop, of reading the Bibles and my studies that I've done, I'm only 36. I know Jesus didn't speak much into churches or the synagogues. He went out into the world to touch the people. He went out to the people that had the issue of blood, the people that were demon filled, the people that were poor, the layman. Do you think one way to bridge the gap is for not people to maybe the new generation to have to come into the church, but for the church to reach out more into the streets, to the communities, into the ghettos, into places that most people don't want to go? Do you think that would help bridge the gap?
Well, I think it's going to take both, because I think one of the things is, and it's a misnomer to say that Jesus didn't spend a lot of time in the synagogue, because he spent a lot of time in the synagogue. And that's why the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes and the people who had the authority during that time became angry with Jesus. And the Bible says that they sought to kill him, all right, because they didn't want to hear what Jesus had to say. And so we have to, the church has to be a part of our culture, a part of our society. The church has been a part of our culture, our society, throughout generations. I think that one of the things that's different in terms of the Xers, in terms of the millennials, in terms of the younger generation is we have raised a generation of people who have been raised disconnected from the church as we've known it. I think, as you said earlier, growing up, your grandmother and your granddad, the people in your life, church was a part of your life. For me, and I'm much, much older, I recall going to church in the morning and staying all afternoon and getting home in the evening. Sometimes taking 2 or 3 naps in the church. But then we raised a generation of people, and as parents, we said, okay, I'm not going to make my children go to church. You don't have to go to church. And in addition to the fact that maybe the established church, quote unquote, the established church, religion itself, or the organization of the church, has become offensive to some people, because people have seen, in some cases, us living lavish lifestyles, and becoming a part of the rich and the famous off of the backs of those who are broken and who are disenfranchised.
Let's talk
And I
about it,
think
Bishop. Let's talk about it, Bishop.
so I think that that's been part of the issue, part of the struggle, that people have a hard time reconciling what church should really look like, you know. And the other thing is that we tend to measure church against what we see as mega churches and assume that all churches function that way. You know, not all pastors are able to be transported around in their own private jets. You
Yes.
know, not to speak against those who have their own private jets,
Yes.
but because I think that even those churches and pastors who have their private jets, planes, what have you, are doing some significant work, not only nationally but globally. But we don't see that. We just see the plane. We see the jet. And so I think that one of the things that has happened is that we try to measure church establishment, church organizations, church structure based upon what we see in terms of the mega church, and assume that all churches are functioning at the same level. That we have so much money, you know. The preacher got a lot of money. He got more
Yeah.
money than I got, and
Yeah.
that's not reality. That's television. That's
Okay.
what we see on television. And so I don't think the church has necessarily helped itself to some degree, but I think also the church has been misdefined, if I can use that term, that
Okay.
people have defined us based upon what they think they know. There again, you know, whenever you're standing outside looking in, you can't get the full picture.
Okay.
Until you open that book, you don't know you don't know the content.
Gotcha.
You got to read the pages, you got to read the chapters, you got to read the book in order to understand and to know the full content. And so, in terms of the church, in terms of, you know, organized religion, that's interesting because I spoke with a doctor earlier today, and we were talking about faith, and I asked him, I said, "Now, are you a man of faith?" Was my question to him, and he said, "Well, I'm spiritual."
Ooh.
He said, "I'm not a religious person. I'm not in religion." He says, "My mother," and he's, you know, Indian descent. Um, my mother was a Hindu. My mother was very, very religious. Well,
Yeah.
no, I'm not really religious, but I'm very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And so just being able to differentiate the difference between being religious, because religion is organization, you
Yes.
know, it's traditional, um, it's an entity, but spirituality is my connection with God.
Yes.
It's me feeding my soul. And so I think what people have to understand and the struggle for us is being the spiritual men and women that we're destined to be. That we have to feed our soul. So whether we are, you know, it's through Christianity, whether it's through Islam, whether it's through Hindu or Buddhism, or through some other practice, the question is, are you feeding your soul? Are you
Mm.
connecting with the God of creation, the God of redemption? And all of us as Christians, or even Islam, all of us have a redemptive story, and all of us embrace a God of creation, because we don't believe that we just showed up, you know, that we just popped out of nowhere, that it
Yes.
was a creative God who created all of us. So I think the church has some work to do in terms of its image, and in terms of helping people to see and understand the difference between religion, between church organization, and spirituality, relationship with God. Uh,
Yes.
and in terms of my belief, relationship with God through Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Jesus says, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one cometh unto the Father but by me." So I think
Yes.
spirituality is the key for us in our spiritual walk with God.
Yes. Thank you, Bishop, for breaking that down and giving us that perspective. Um, I had a question as well. We know now it's becoming very prevalent that the LGBTQ community, I might be missing a few letters, but the LGBTQ community is gaining their position in society now. They don't have to live anymore in the closet, or not living in what they feel. In the terms of that, when it comes to the Black community and the Black church, and I only say the Black churches because we have that unity there. That the Black churches is something that we still have in our community. It's something that you're a part of. And so I just want to get your opinion on what should the church's standpoint be on the LGBT community coming in to hold high positions in the church. Is that something that should be embraced? Is that because growing up, we always heard in the old church I come from, and the old people, like I said, being gay or being bisexual, all that was a no-no. God does not approve. We do not approve. And if you do it, you better sit in the back. But what is the church's new standpoint on the LGBT community holding positions and being active in the church and living out their truth?
Well, that's interesting, a very interesting question. I'm somewhat challenged by it because I have my traditional thinking, my thoughts are based upon my understanding and interpretation of Scripture in terms of just sexuality, period. Homosexuality, lesbianism, LGBTQ plus creates a different challenge, a different thought. Now, a few points I make concerning that. One is, at the end of the day, we can't look past our humanity, who we are. And being human beings, we have to have some sense in terms of who God has created us to be. Okay. I don't, spend a whole lot of time engaging and arguing with people about their choice, their sexuality, what they choose to be or do. That people say, well, I'm born this way, I'm created this way. Okay. Who am I to argue about that? When it comes down to the church, I think the church clearly defines, and really it comes, local congregations or national bodies determine who provides the leadership. Now, in some churches, is out front, is prevalent. That person may be a bisexual person, maybe a homosexual person, lesbian person. Some congregations, some denominations have embraced that. My personal thought is that we make room for everybody. Okay. Now, do I see homosexuality, in terms of my understanding of it, and in terms of the Bible, that I see it as being sin. That I don't think that we're created for the same thing. Okay, but that's me. Okay, that's me. Versus you, not you, the person, but another person may say, well, I mean, God made me this way, and so I'm a man, but I love another man. Okay, I'm a woman, but I love another woman, and that's how God created me to be. Okay, well, you have to work that out with you and God. Okay, and it's not up to me to be judgmental of your life or pass judgment upon you, or even deny you access to the things of God and to the ministry that God has given unto you. So now, as a heterosexual, as a male pastor, okay, if I'm going to deny you and be judgmental of you, saying, well, you are a homosexual man or woman, and that's sin, and therefore you can't. Well, what about the man who commits adultery? The pastor who's a fornicator, an adulteress, okay, or the pastor who lies, the pastor who steals, okay, that's sin also. So if I deny you access to ministry work and deny the gifts that God has given you, and say that, well, because this is sin and God does not tolerate sin, and therefore you cannot hold leadership and you cannot engage in ministry because you've committed sin, Then I've got to deny the person who is guilty of committing adultery, the same thing. The person who's committing fornication, the same thing. The person who's who's guilty of committing and telling lies and being deceitful and stealing, the same thing. So nobody can hold position of leadership, okay? Because the Bible says that all of us have sinned and come short of God's glory. Jesus says that we don't judge because we're not called to be judges. Okay?
Amen.
We're called to do the work of the Lord. And so if you're my brother, my sister, I've had situations in my congregation. I have one young lady who got married about a year or so ago. And I took offense to the fact that she had not extended invitation to me. You know, and I said, you know, the fact that your lifestyle is what it is doesn't mean that we don't love you.
Oh,
I mean, I don't love you. You know, you're still my sister. You know, we're still connected. And sometimes it's a matter of having opportunities to grow. Now, flamboyancy, you know, just got to be out front, just got to be seen. That may be a different conversation, you know. But the same thing, that point or principle can apply to a heterosexual man or woman. You know, you got to be out front, you got to be seen, you got to be flamboyant, you know. Then that takes away from the ministry. You know, it's like, well, sit down, get yourself together. And then when you're ready to do God's work and make it about the kingdom, then, you know, no matter what your choice is or your lifestyle is, we can work together to build the kingdom.
Yes, amen. Thank you, Bishop, on that. And we already kind of went through the prison ministry. That was another question I was going to ask, but you did clarify that every church, you believe churches are doing that. The Black church gives shelter and help to the prison ministry. I was reading, and I'm not going to hold you too much longer, Bishop, but I was reading about, well, I read a lot, and there's this new wave of things that's happening when it comes to these robots. Okay, they're building these robots. They're making them to be able to work into jobs because I guess people are becoming lazier. They don't want to really work. They're building them to work in hospitals. They're building them to protect homes. They're building them to be assassins for leaders of other countries. They're making the androids to be able to, you know, program them to set the mark in the face recognition to kill on the spot. When we do that, Bishop, the Bible doesn't really give us direction on this new technology age, because the things that the people went through back in the First and Second Testament, you know, they wasn't dealing with some of the witchcraft and sorcery that we're dealing with here with this technology. How is the church going to keep up with educating its sheep or its followers or the people of Christ? How is the church going to lead in guiding people with this new wave of technology going on? We have a new witchcraft here. I don't know. I can't hear you, Bishop. I don't know if your hand is on something or what, but your volume's down.
Say it again.
There we go. Yes, sir.
It's a question of how you interpret things. You know, some of it sounds like conspiracy theory, while some of it might be reality. You know, I mean, you think about it. You think about the ATM machine. You know, how many people lost jobs when they created the ATM machine? You know, and then of course reached the level where you can do everything through the ATM. I don't have to go inside of the bank. I don't have to deal with a teller. I can deposit. I can withdraw. I can do everything using my smart device. Okay. Think about the self-serve line at the Walmart, or the Harris Teeters, or the Kroger, or, you know, where you know you required a cashier. You know, that, you know, when they created that self-serving line, that meant that somebody lost a job, or somebody perhaps who had retired, that job was not filled. And so things have been happening. Think about robotic surgery that's being done even now. You know, and you know, just going on and on and on in terms of this whole this thing called technology. You know, the churches we were shut down for a year, and what did churches do in order to maintain, in order to reach out? They used the smart devices. They went virtual. You know, we have virtual churches now. I just read an article a few days ago where a church in Denver been pastored by one of the leading preachers of the nation, Bishop T.D. Jakes' daughter and son-in-law, where they're literally shutting down the church building. No
Wow.
more in-person worship, and their focus is virtual.
Wow.
And so you got 24 million people or 30 million people, you know, following you and calling you pastor, but there's no relationship, there's no connection, there's no one-on-one. You know, and so that when you talk about how the church is going to respond, you know, and teach its congregants, well, the fact of the matter is that the church is knee deep in this technology, using it. You know, where now I can be a pastor of a mega church and never even leave my house,
Woo.
stay in my office, you know, because of this technology, because of what's available. You know, our nation is able to fight wars, you know, from America, from the waters of America, and they can send drones, and you know, they can destroy countries and win wars without even going overseas. You know, and so that's what we're up against. And I think that, you know, for some of us believe that, you know, that we will soon see the second coming of Christ, you know, because technology is almost becoming that God, you know,
Oh
that
my God.
smartphone, you know, you can't live without it now. We've not always had cell phones, but now that we have cell phones, it's like you can't live without it. You got cell phones and you got the smart watches, and you know, if my phone is one place, I'm the other place, my watch tell me your phone is over there. You know, the technology is here, and it's no telling how deep and how far things will go
Yes.
before there is an awakening in the
Mm.
society and the culture that says, "Oh my goodness!" And it kind of reminds you of that Will Smith movie.
I Robot. I always think of that movie.
You know what I'm saying? Where this stuff
Yes.
is programmed in such a way whereby, you know, it reaches a point where it doesn't need any more programming. It programs itself, and so
Oh.
therefore it no longer listens to the programmer.
Oh.
It takes on its own life.
Yes.
You know, which is probably illustrative in terms of how humanity has become, no longer
Mm.
listening to the creator, but we take on our own life and we proceed and do as we desire to do. So it's interesting, and just, you know, I guess it's wait to see what the outcome ultimately will be, you know. But you got to be to separate the fact from the fiction, you know, truth from non-truth, conspiracy from what really is. And
Yes.
so there's a lot, you know, there's a lot going on, and you know, maybe with spaceships and
'Cause we're feeling it. The people are feeling it, Bishop. It's in our face. It's no longer conspiracy theory. These scientists and stuff, whatever we conjure up, they're making it happen in these labs, and it's happening in our faces. You understand? We're forced to deal with it. The technology, the social media, all of this has shredded the thread of human interaction. It's crumbling before our faces.
right.
How
So the whole question of does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? And what is happening? You're right. And so when I talk about a church, for an example, because that's where you know, that's my context. You know, the church was, and you go back to your earlier questions in terms of, you know, the new generation, millennials, Xers, your earlier point in terms of the community and the church. Well, the church was, you know, one-on-one. You know, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your granddad, they knew the pastor. They had a relationship with the pastor. You know,
Yes.
he'd come to the house on Sundays, eat some chicken. Okay. Somebody got sick, they called the pastor. Somebody died, they called the pastor. New baby
Yes.
born, they called the pastor. Somebody want to get
Yes.
married, they called the pastor. But now, if the church is going virtual, so we're shutting down our doors.
Come
No more
on.
in-church, in-person worship. All right.
Mm.
We got 350,000 followers, 350,000 members. Okay.
And no
And
coming together. No more like they did in the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King was able to make noise because he had a place where people had a coming togethering.
right.
There's no more coming together. They're separating us.
And so then you speak about Jesus in terms of the community and going here, going there, even in synagogue, one of the things that Jesus said that stands out, Jesus said what? He said, you ought not to forsake the assembling of yourselves together.
Woo!
All right. Now we can assemble virtually, but there's no interaction. And so
So,
when I deposit my check using my smart device, you know, there's no interaction. I'm talking to the computer. I'm talking to the phone. What can we help you with?
yep.
What describe what it is that you want. I'm trying to get to a person, but you are hindering me being able to have that one-on-one because this technology is interfering. And so
Yes.
we're going to have to make a decision as a society, as a culture, in terms of how much we will allow technology to run our lives and to dictate our lives and dictate how we respond and how we treat each other. And so if I can stay at home and do everything that I do, then I don't have to worry about building a relationship with you,
Yes.
having fellowship with you, getting to know you. All right.
Yes.
I then judge you based upon what I hear about you in terms of what
Yes.
the news reports, in terms of, oh, there's been another shooting over in this community, a black man was, and so all of a sudden, I make decisions about what black people are like based upon what I hear through the media, what I read on my smart device, what other people are saying concerning black people. But there's no interaction. I'm not interacting with you on the job, because I'm just sitting behind a desk controlling this robot that's doing the assembly work. I'm not interacting with you in the grocery store because now I'm just doing my Amazon thing and they just ship it to my house, and just put it in my door and I just get it, bring it in the house. And
Yes.
I'm not interacting with you in the community,
Yes.
because of the COVID. So everybody's staying at home, nobody's interacting, and so technology has taken over and ruling our lives. And at some point, as a society, culturally, we have to make a decision in terms of what we're going to do. Are we going to live and get to know each other, or are we going to just become this bubble,
Woo!
remain in this bubble, and never get to know the person next door to us?
Mm. And I thank you so much, Bishop, for I'm so humbled and grateful that you took the time out tonight to have this conversation to address these things. And I really think men like you of the cloth and pastors and leaders like you, this is what it would take to bridge the gap. The fact that you were open enough to come and have this conversation, I'm so humbled. I'm so blessed. We were talking about technology. Can you tell the people, do you have a virtual services where people can tune in to come to see you? What's going on with your church assembly? Can you tell us what's going on with that?
Yes, we have in-person worship at Newman Olivet, but for our global friends, we do have virtual service, Facebook Live every Sunday morning at 9:30, Newman Olivet Baptist Church, Portsmouth, Virginia. We have YouTube stream live every Sunday morning at 9:30. On Wednesday evenings, we have a time in the Word where we spend time in study and discussing and having conversation. And so we are streaming live, and of course, we are on Instagram. Instagram. And so we do have those means, and because I'm Bishop Blunt, Milton Blunt, and I whenever I pop up, I invite your audience to just follow me, and so you can hear what I have to say in my opinions, and have a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts about things, and of course I try to govern my life by the Word best I can, and I
Yes.
look forward to sharing it in the lives of other people.
Yes, Bishop, and I've listened to you speak. You are such a dynamic, passionate speaker, and you have a great style. on how you deliver the word. So I love to listen to you sometimes myself. I'm going to put your information in the description box below, and that's New Mount Olivet. Is that for all platforms, Bishop?
Yes, New Mount Olivet for all platforms.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Portsmouth,
Thank
Virginia.
you so
But
much.
the key is Portsmouth, Virginia.
Portsmouth, Virginia. Okay, I'll put that in
So there
in
are
the
a whole
description.
lot of Mount Olivets all over the
Okay.
nation.
I saw that. I did see that when I Googled something.
Right.
But so that is a very popular, because Mount Olivet was a popular mount in the Bible, correct?
That's correct. And that's when Jesus ascended back to heaven. When he, after resurrection and met with his disciples, he met them on the Mount of Olivet, or the Mount of Olive, and he ascended. And so Mount Olivet is very popular because
Very.
when you're on the mountain of Olivet, then something's going to happen. You can expect to ascend, reach the next
Yes.
level. All right.
Hallelujah. And
Well,
you
listen,
represented that
thank you for
this
the
evening.
opportunity to share. Thank you for this moment, the opportunity to share on this Friday evening. And I hope that our conversation has been really a blessing
Yes.
into the lives of those persons that will watch and view your broadcast over and over again.
Yes, sir, Bishop. Thank you so much. And you have proven that when you touch the leaders of Mount Olivet, you shall ascend. And we thank you so much for your
You're
profound
welcome.
knowledge this evening. Thank you
You're
for
so welcome.
joining. You have a
Certainly.
good night, Bishop.
You too. Thank you.
Yes. Bye-bye. All right, office viewers, we got it in tonight. We were able to get those tough questions and get that explained and get that perception. And I'm so blessed and so humbled. I'm going to put the bishop's information. I'm going to put the underground artist we had tonight, Mr. Eastside Sunny, and I'm going to put the lovely Soulfully Divine Creations. I thank you guys for joining tonight. Don't forget to go over to Angel Wing Sauce, guys, on Instagram. Follow me at Angel Wing Sauce and get your order of the best hot wing sauce that's ever made, y'all. This is some good stuff if you love hot wings. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and we'll see you in February. Good night.